Good afternoon and welcome everybody to this week's edition of Entrepreneurship Matters. We are really heating it up this week because we have two of our region's most, well, I say countries, most amazing bakers and cake makers here, Jamillah Muhammad and Anna Hester. So let me invite both of them. This is our 33rd week of hosting Entrepreneurship Matters, which is a conversation we host with a local two established entrepreneurs about their stories and their entrepreneurship journeys. This is one where you will realize why a cake is sweeter than it looks. We know that successful entrepreneurs as well as successful businesses aren't built in a day. It takes undiluted passion, multiple failures, a lot of grit, and a long-term commitment. And today we have two entrepreneurs that are going to tell you about how they have made it and how they are still making it in their industry. So Jamillah, Anna. Great. Half of my worry is not getting right. So I'm so glad to have you both here. Let me introduce you, and then we're going to get right into our conversation. So Jamillah Muhammad is love of baking began watching her great-grandmother and grandmother in the kitchen. Everything was from scratch and often hand-picked ingredients. Eventually, she lost touch with her baking roots until she became a nurse. This is great. She started baking for the staff simply to bring a smile to their faces. The reactions reminding her of the times she spent fighting over the leftover bowl of batter growing up, and she fell in love all over again. We all have had that battle as kids. And Taste This Cake was born. Since 2016, she's been making her specialty cakes, bread pudding, and other sweets in her Be More kitchen, a shared commercial kitchen in Northeast Baltimore. Her core values mimic her childhood. Southern inspired with a twist. We're going to see what that means. From scratch, local and/or high-quality ingredients, and community-oriented. So, such a pleasure to have you here, Jamillah.
Thank you for having me.
Really, really excited. And our other guest is Anna Hester, owner of Tere's Cake Space. I pronounced that correct. Yes.
Yes, Tere. Yes, thank you.
You're welcome. A custom design bakery located in Montgomery County, Maryland.
Oh, wow.
Originally from Texas and a graduate of the Howard University. I always try to get that right. We always have some folks on. Tere's Cake Face was formed after the birth of her daughter, Tere, and has grown to provide custom cake artistry for special occasions to include weddings, birthdays, and other milestone events. She enjoys teaching decorating techniques as well as helping others achieve their goals through realizing their full potential. It really is an honor to have you here, Anna.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so we're going to launch right in. Both of them are are baking today, and so we are taking them away from the kitchen. So we are going to get right into this conversation. Let's start with what inspired you to become entrepreneurs? Both of you have a love of baking, right? But you could just stop there. You could not turn this into a business. So what inspired you to go into entrepreneurship? I'll start with Jamillah and then go to Anna.
I think mine was really the people that were eating my products, because they kept saying to me, hey, you should sell these. You should sell these. I was very content with just baking and sharing for free, but people said you should absolutely sell these. I mean, now, granted, those people disappeared, but new people came along. So I just, as a nurse, it was just a lot for me to see a lot of the bad that was going on. So if I could bring a smile to anyone's face with my baked good, then I'm a happy girl. So I wanted to continue on and giving people that happy feeling. I tell people all the time, I don't work. I make people happy with cake.
Hey, you are trading in the happiness business. That's a good thing. People buy that. I love it. I love it. How about you, Anna? What took you from baking to a business?
So I have actually been baking probably my whole life. I watched my grandmother bake as a kid. And then, obviously my mom would bake hers, they had their specialties. And then as an adult, like I just from being from the South and just Southern hospitality, I just, if I was showing up to somebody's event or like if I was dating somebody and meeting their parents for the first time, I always showed up with the cake. And that was just, my thing. And I would bake for people at work, similar to Jamillah. And one day everybody was like, let me give you some money for this. And then I was like, no, I don't want your money. Like, this is my love. I really love doing this. And then it became, okay, I do need to realize that, hey, ingredients aren't free. People are willing to compensate you for your time and your talent. And so it did take me a little bit of time to actually want to take people's money for what they were getting in return. And then, here I am now actually in a, full-blown business, and it's just much different from when I started out.
Excellent. So both of you, I think we have a number of people on watching. I know we have a lot of little tykes because I had a bunch of little tykes. Their mama told me they supposed to be in class, but they watch. they are bakers. They are pure bakers, and they're doing it for the love of it. And you both talked about, right, I do this for free. It's bringing people joy. But how did you go to that conversion? So how did you go from something you love into creating a business? If folks they want to know, what steps did you take to start that business? So Jamillah, how did you go, literally, how'd you go from baking a nurse into starting a business where you're able to take in revenue based on selling happiness, as you put it?
Selling happiness. Oh, well, yes. I'm going to be the first one to say I have absolutely no idea what I'm doing. Okay. Outside of cake.
Don't tell them. Don't tell them. We're going to fake it till we make it. Fake it till we make it.
I don't. But it's one of those things where for me, I'm such a rule follower. Mm-hmm. And the cottage food laws basically said buttercream and anything that's considered hazardous. So milk or anything that could spoil at room temperature, you can't sell and be in at the farmer's market. So I really wanted to make wedding cakes and specialty cakes. So I started my journey looking for a kitchen. And that was the best thing that I could have done because it's basically a kitchen full of a bunch of startups. So I have access to people that are going through the same exact thing, and people that have, the people that run the kitchen have been in food. So they've helped me. I've basically just connected myself with the right people. That's how I made the journey, or at least started it.
Such a powerful message, because we've heard this over in these entrepreneurship journeys, and you boiled it down very simply. You connected with the right people, and you talked about started looking for a kitchen. So you looked for the place to do your work.
Yes.
With that came the people, places, and things that have allowed for you to launch your business.
Yes.
Really beautiful imagery around that. And tell people one more time, where is your kitchen? What's the kitchen called?
The kitchen, it's called Be More Kitchen. It's we're about a half a mile away from Belvedere Square. And it used to be an old car dealership. Then they switched it over to a furniture store. The furniture store had a fire. And then right around that same time, there's a granola company here that her husband owns the building. They were looking for a shared commercial space similar to the space in DC Union Kitchen. So they basically bought this building, turned it into, it's 4 different things going on in this one building. So upstairs is the space I'm in now is an event space. Downstairs is the kitchen. Downstairs in the front of the building is Full Tilt Brewery. And on top of Full Tilt is Hex Ferments. Their production spaces in the same building. So 4 big things, 4 different addresses going on under the same building. It is bananas.
It's good. It's good.
Yeah, I mean, I like the energy. It's like I never had the opportunity to be in a dorm. I stayed home for college and things like that. So I'm getting the dorm experience in my late 30s and 40s. I'm learning how to share because I was the only girl, so I'm getting it. Thank you.
You learned the lesson.
Right.
How about you, Anna? How did you go from love of baking to starting your business? What step did you go through?
So I'll say this: entrepreneurship probably like is in my blood, in my DNA. My great grandfather was a peanut farmer. He had a gas station, so I mean, he utilized that to take care of his family. I have an uncle who owned a lawn care business. My father owned a lawn care business. I have a cousin who's an entrepreneur. She owns her own hair salon. So I'm surrounded by like the entrepreneurship. And like Jamillah said, starting out, I didn't know what I was doing. I, shamefully to say, probably was like underpricing myself. And just not really like understanding, hey, you need to pay yourself, you need to cover your costs, your time, your talent all means something. And so I was, not really connected with anyone in the baking industry. And so like Jamillah, just kind of like bumping around, talking to different people, getting on the internet. And I feel like my daughter's now 10. So 10 years ago, all there was like YouTube, the Food Network, like Cake Boss. So that's like, like what our examples were. We don't have like, I don't even think Instagram was around 10 years ago. I think Facebook was just starting out. So you didn't really like have that like blueprint, like at your fingertips like you do now. And so over time, I really just started like, talking to people, watching others, just finding other people in very similar situations, understanding, like she said, the cottage laws, understanding like the business side of things. And I'll say that it did take some time, just meeting different people who had knowledge in the industry, picking their brains, doing a lot of one-on-ones, just understanding, because a lot of times we're afraid to take that step because it seems like so overwhelming, like, oh my God, I have to pay taxes, I gotta register this, I gotta do this. And we get scared to take those steps. And it just takes connecting with the right person or persons, having the right conversation with someone, and not being afraid to verbalize your goals and your dreams in the presence of others that can help you. And so that's really kind of like how I got to this place. Just like I said, reading, connecting with other established cake artists in the industry, other business professionals, not even in the industry. I was doing some financial work for an organization, and I was working with a CPA. And one day I was having a conversation about like, hey, I made cakes and this, and he was like, let me give you some advice. And he sent me like a whole email, about like what I needed to do business wise, and got me really together with just those minute details that sometimes we overlook. Yeah. I think the running joke right now is, especially like in COVID, everybody's starting an LLC, but you don't really understand the rules and regulations of that and what it actually means. And so I would challenge anyone who's taking that step to connect with the right person, do your research, read the right book, listen to what people are saying, because 10 years ago, all the information that's at your fingertips right now didn't exist for us.
Right.
And so, I mean, not to date myself, but I mean, we were reading encyclopedias back in the day, trying to figure out things. Or right now, it's like you get on Google, like my daughter's on Google and she can learn about anything. So everything's at your fingertips these days. And so it's definitely, up to you as the individual to take advantage of that.
No, absolutely. You said a couple of really poignant things. One, I'm understanding, we're seeing a lot of comments in the chat. Let me give people that moment. The 3 ways you can participate in this conversation. You can put your comments in the chat, and I'm already seeing folks put them in the chat, so that is great. You may also put them on Facebook. They come to me in the chat, so I will get all of those questions and comments and shout outs. I make sure I will shout out whoever you want to shout out on here. I promise I'll get to them. You also, if you're listening on the phone, you can text your questions in 22333 and type JHUWL in the message. But let me get back to what you were saying, which is, one, you talked about paying yourself, understanding the monetization and the value of your time and your talent. You talk to people, networked. Both of you did this, but you didn't categorize it as this. You both did your friends and family, right? So you had you knew you had a good product. That you had already tested that out. And then relied upon experts. So ensuring that you were learning and understanding what you're doing. Let me get to this question which someone just posed, which is, because I think it's really relevant to what we're just talking about just a moment. How do you, this person's a singer, so we've not had a singer on, we have to figure that out, team, but we have not had a singer, but she says it's difficult to transition from not charging to accepting money for your craft because you want to make people happy, right? So she sings a lot, she's never charged. How do you make that conversion? Was that conversion, how did you, and it may be a journey you're on in that conversion, but how do you get from something that you were willing to do for free, putting a price tag on it and selling it out in the marketplace? Jamillah, how did you make that conversion?
It was terrifying because granted, I know my product is good. Because I don't have the background in entrepreneurship, no one is surrounding me, it's just me. In fact, my family looked at me like, what are you doing? Like, nursing is, you spent all this, like, you have a master's in nursing. What are you doing? Why are you doing this? It's like, I just want to be happy also. But for me, it was very, very difficult to start charging. So I charging appropriately. I'm still not there. I am still not there. I am still not there, but somehow 5 years later, I am still here. I really just kind of fumbled around and to figure out, like, what would people charge? And what I've learned is if I put a number out there and they jump and say, oh yeah, that's great, then I'm like, oh, I undercharged myself. If they kind of hesitate, then I'm like, okay, maybe I'm in the ballpark. But if it's like a flat out no, then I'm like, I went too far. So it has been, very, very difficult, especially with cakes, because baking from scratch, there's time to bake. Mm-hmm. There's time to let the cake rest. Mm-hmm. There's time to decorate. And then if they want delivery, all of that, and I have like 6-inch cakes that are $40, but really that cake could probably take me a day and a half just to bake from start to finish, so anyway, so I'm sure Anna knows exactly how I feel. It was hard. It is still hard to this day to charge people money for my cake.
I was a lawyer and I was so glad when at the law firm that they set my rate, because I would have said I was giving it away for free.
I've actually thought about that, like, because the process to me is very personal, you know. So if an outside person would just put a price on the cake, I'd say fine, but for me, it's like, no, oh my gosh, that's too much. I'm like, but it's actually not. It's actually not.
No, absolutely. How do you charge, Anna? How do you put in a price on something you were doing for free?
So, I'll say this. I had to learn to value my worth and my talent, because here's the thing about pricing. And this is not speaking negatively about any customers. People want a deal. Even, we're not even talking about COVID. We're talking about in general. People want a deal, and there are so many businesses out here that allow haggling, allow price comparison, all these things. Baking is not one of those businesses. And I have a shirt that says "Custom ain't common." And what I feel about pricing is that, listen, if I allow someone to tell me what they're going to pay for something that I put my time, my talent, and worth in, I'm going to be broke. Because if someone can get it for cheap, that's what they're going to get. That's what they're going to go with. And that's not to devalue customers or clients, because I like to call everybody a client, not a customer. But I think that you have to understand, like, listen, this is my talent. I'm putting out a quality product. You know, the ingredients cost, my time, you know, a cake, like she said, you bake a cake one day, then, or you bake it like that morning, you got to let it sit, cool, freeze, then you got to make buttercream. It takes me like 30 minutes to make Italian meringue. Excuse me. And then you're decorating. And sometimes you have like that trial and error. And so I was uncomfortable charging appropriately because I did not believe, even though I had an idea that my things were, you know, my product was great, I was putting out something that was quality, I was still afraid to value my own worth and talent. I joined a group, and there was like a pricing book that we were able to, it was the HBIC squad, and there was a pricing ebook that came out that we were given to like write down like all of our ingredients, our overhead, all these things. And when I started like doing that pricing and started realizing like, whoa, like I'm not even making anything from this, I had to change my pricing. I had to change my mindset, because what I won't do is say that, you know, and I do my research too. It's helpful to go and look at what your colleagues are doing in the business, because it gives you an idea. And trust and believe, there are people, and this is not to dismiss anyone's talent or artistry, but there are some people that are not even doing a quarter or a fraction of what you're doing. And because they have that confidence and they exude that confidence, they can charge twice as much, and people will pay it. And sometimes it's not even quality. It's a popularity thing, or it's the visibility. Everybody wants to, you know, be seen. And so sometimes you're looking at something like, man, why didn't I charge, you know, the $200 for this when this person clearly charged $400 and got their money. So for me, it was all about realizing that, listen, I'm an artist. I am, you know, this is not my side hustle. This is my business. This is my brand. This is my talent. And I need you to pay accordingly so that I can continue to do this. Because aside from this, I think, you know, we have to, you know, like my boyfriend tells me all the time, he's like, people don't care about how much those eggs cost. They want the end product. And you have to like you're doing the behind the scenes work, you know, calculating everything, doing all the work, and then pricing it accordingly. And I'm sure Jamillah can speak to this. You find some customers who want that breakdown of every single thing. And I'm like, I'm sorry, these are my prices, and you have to stand firm on that. Because if we do like that, like wavering thing, that's like that in like, oh, she's willing to come down. I mean, I was even like delivering for free at one point. Like, and I'm in Montgomery County. So I was going places that were like 45 minutes away from me. And people were asking me to deliver 1 dozen cupcakes 35 minutes away from me. Well, I'm not making any money. And that dozen of cupcakes took me way more, you know, time to decorate and customize for you. And so we're in a business and we love what we do. This is our talent. But at the same time, we have to be compensated accordingly.
No, it's such an important point. I learned what you both said are just gems, like pure gems for folks. Someone commented, you know, definitely include that time that you can't get back in the price. If they value your work, they'll pay. We had another entrepreneur on. She said it so succinctly. She said, everyone can't be your customer. It can't be your client. Just can't. It's just true. Everyone can't do it.
I have turned. I apologize for.
No, you're not interrupting.
But people down in the kitchen look at me crazy all the time when I say this. That, you know, every customer is not a good fit. And every time I talk to someone, it's an interview for myself, and I'm interviewing them also. Because the world, there are cake people everywhere.
Yeah.
You can find someone to make your dream cake the way that you make it. You know, you want it made. It may not be me, and I'm okay saying no.
That's right. No, absolutely. Both of you, just real gems. And someone just commented, this conversation is so real. The pricing piece is a true development step. We have to value ourselves first. So completely agree with both of you. Both of you talked about you have one, you're very blessed and highly favored. It can, you know, you can just see it on y'all. And you
I think it's just lighting above me. I'm kidding. I'll take it. I'll take it.
You take what I say. But you both have had a network that you've been able to tap into, folks who have allowed for you to pick your brain. We have some folks on that have been asking this question a couple of times, which is, where have you found that welcoming network? I mean, you talked about being at Be More Kitchen and being able to sort of have peers around you. Jamillah, Anna, you said you reach out to people and they respond. Can you give some instructions for folks on how do you find yourself a network that's supportive? And I don't know if you both realize this. You don't call your people who are in the same industry. I noticed this when you were talking. You did not call them competitors. You called them colleagues, which is so interesting about the spirit in which you're doing this work. You don't have, maybe you do think, I believe I don't have competition. I have colleagues that, you might choose something else, but you're very much in your own space. But how did you find this network of colleagues that are willing to let you pick their brains? How did you do that, Jamillah?
I stumbled upon them. But it all, again, stems from being in this kitchen. I went to like a private party with some people that own Well Crafted Pizza. They used to operate out of the kitchen. And at that party was another baker. And we just happened to be, talking. I didn't know, she's been on like shows and things that, I had no idea, but we were just talking and now we're friends. So I've stumbled upon it because I'm really kind of shy. You may not be able to tell that, but I'm really kind of shy. So for me to like just walk up to someone and just say, hey, tell me about yourself. You're like, tell me what kind of business. That's not my approach. Mm-hmm. I kind of let things kind of come to me and then I open up once it actually happens. So I'm not that kind of aggressive person. That makes sense.
No, completely. Absolutely. But no, it is a lot of the network organically sometimes can, what you're talking about, these organic, sort of serendipity moments where you're in the company of someone that's connected. Yeah. No,
yeah. I'm sorry. Go on.
Oh, no. Go right ahead.
No, I stumbled on, what is it? Made in Baltimore. And next thing I know, I'm on a billboard. I'm like, are you kidding me? Like, why am I on this billboard? But, it was fun, I love them. I'm sorry?
You deserve to be on billboards.
Yeah. No, I do deserve to be on billboards. And It was my moment. They said, just act natural. And I said, okay, well, I want to throw some flour like I'm LeBron. So that's what I did. I was just.
I love it. How did you find your network? How did you find folks that will pick your brain? Folks are asking, how did you get that network that you could tap into?
So I think, I'm going to go back to the comment you made about our colleagues versus competition. Someone posted the other day about like saturation of the market, and especially with like the onset of like social media, all these like different platforms, you see like, hey, there's like 100,000 other cake artists or people in the baking industry, so it can be overwhelming. But I stand firm on, hey, listen, God has blessed you with gifts and talents. They're gonna make room for you. So while there can be 100 other bakers or cake artists in the Maryland area, the right customer at the right time is going to come. And that also helps with being able to say no sometimes and say, I'm sorry, I can't do that for you, or no, I'm not going to like devalue myself. And so just finding a network is like, for me was like joining certain groups,
Yeah.
taking some classes from some other established like artists. I feel like I latched on to this one artist, the one I was telling you about earlier, Danae from Bitsy Cakes. Just you connect with people organically, even through social media.
Yeah.
I've just met some like really like genuine, authentic people where I see them putting out a product. Like I have an apron, I don't have it right here, but I got an apron from Divine Sweets way in California. And like, I love her. Like, I feel like we're friends, over social media. And especially with like COVID, you just don't have these opportunities to meet up with people in person.
Mhm.
And I think when a person presents themselves and you feel like they're just being genuine, it's very easy to connect. I'm also in this other group I mentioned before, HBIC Squad. Everybody is very supportive. I like being in places.
Say it slow so we can get it down. What's the squad called?
It's the HBIC Squad.
Okay.
It's on Facebook. There's a website. I just mentioned Bitsy Cakes. She puts on a lot of wonderful classes. I connected with her. Like she does all of my like custom cake toppers. She sells some wonderful products and amazing cake artists. There's just like a whole line of people that like, and you know what? Let me just touch on this. A lot of Black women and men in this industry that unfortunately I feel like have gone unnoticed by like the major industry, and like they are showing up and showing out. And it's one of those things where you are like, hey, am I on this island by myself? But no, there's all these people. And this year has been really fortunate, at least for me, to be able to connect with people because I see someone doing something and I don't see them as competition. If someone is doing something and their work is beautiful, if I see Jamillah's work, I have no problem saying, yes, girl, like you did that.
Girl,
like,
right.
Going out. Like, because at the end of the day, what is it taking away from me to let my sister or brother shine? It does nothing. And so I just
Someone's quoting that right now. They just quoted that. That was beautiful.
I really work on the principle that whatever's for me is going to be for me, but it doesn't hurt for me to learn from somebody else. I mean, even if it's something like I just bought a class from Jessica's design studio, dessert studio. I'm so sorry, Jessica. And it was like the gold metallic, doing something gold metallic to your cake. Something that I probably could have figured out myself, but I saw that she was doing this technique. I want to support my sister in the cake industry. And I bought the class. I mean, like, we are out here really doing it and we should be able to provide support. And that's how I've been like making my tribe. And I'm sure some people are like, I don't know her, but we friends in my mind and I'm just gonna roll with it.
I have so many friends in my mind. I mean, I know everybody. I really do. No, it's right. You are not competing. It really is. Someone quoted, put this comment in, your only competition is in the mirror. And that's so, so, so true. Both of you are, the way I think one of you asked during our prep, how do we find you? And the reality is we spy the land for great things. We do. That we can uplift on this platform. And that really is about telling the stories. And so we want to give you a chance to tell us about your greatest accomplishment. We know you have your best days are ahead of you, but what's been like something you're particularly proud of that you've accomplished just thus far in your business, in entrepreneurship journey? How about you, Jamillah? What would you say?
Honestly, I want to celebrate the fact that I've actually been in business for 5 years.
Huge.
Solely because I am going to be very upfront. I have no idea what I'm doing, but I know how to ask the right question. I didn't like school when I was, in school, but I know now I'm forever a student. I love the learning now, right? Yeah. So I have no problems taking a class or, doing all of these things to make me better and make my now new employee better. Yay. I know.
That is huge.
I needed her so bad. But yeah, I want to celebrate that because there were a lot of things that were happening. And somehow I'm still here. You know, I am still here. I am still here. Even my I'm not going to say my family, they did look at me like I was crazy leaving my nursing job. But it feels good to still be around and be successful and kind of show them. You know, I spent some time watching that the documentary on Netflix of Michael Jordan, how he made he made up stories in his head to keep him, like give him the competitive edge. So not that anyone's my competition, but I make up stories in my head saying like, oh, my family feels like I can't do it. So now that motivates me to want to like do better and go above and beyond. So right now, I really feel like that is, especially now during COVID, you know, I went through a breakup, you know, all kinds of things were happening. You know, my nephew passed away, and the fact that I'm still here and people are still wanting, you know, my products, I feel like I just want to take a moment and celebrate that.
No, huge milestone to still be here. So beautifully said.
Thank you.
Such a beautiful statement. And I mean, I think that is a significant accomplishment.
Thank you.
So very proud of you. Very, very proud. How about you, Anna? What has been your greatest accomplishment thus far?
Ooh, surviving this year. Let me tell you, I have a 10-year-old. She just turned 10, and we have been virtually learning for the last year. So thank God for survival. But I would say up to this point, obviously I've been doing this for a really long time, but this past year, I elevated my business to a place where I think I was only dreaming of before. And then being able to teach other people how to, you know, get their cakes to the place where they want it. Like I think maybe naturally I'm a teacher. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy helping people get to the places they want to be, even if it's not right here. And so just having someone say to me, hey, are you doing any classes? And then having a few one-on-one classes and watching that person come in, start out, and by the time they leave, it's where they want to be, and seeing that like joy and relief on their face is priceless for me. I've had my first one-on-one a couple of weeks ago, and I was like, oh my goodness, she did that, and she did that with my help. And I was like, just so fulfilled. And, you know, at this point, like for myself, you know, I look at my cakes and I'm like, how can I do this better? Or how can I help someone do what they're doing better? Because I think we can all learn from each other. And so the ability to be at the point that I'm at now, where there are other people that look at me like I look at other people, you know, other artists, like, hey, I really like your work. I really, you know, enjoy your talent. I would like to learn something from you. And it's humbling. It's there, you know, just so many like emotions run through me, because, you know, you start out in one place and then you find yourself somewhere else, and you're like looking back like, I did not see myself here a year ago. I didn't know, you know, like Jamillah was saying, sometimes I didn't know what I was doing. There was, you know, moments at like 2, 3 a.m. and I'm like, I can't do this. This is a mess. But now just walking in that confidence and having someone say, I really love your work. I want to work with you. I'm just like, whoa, like, God, you're really showing out here. Like, let me go ahead and take it. So that for me has been the biggest accomplishment so far.
Excellent. So folks are so you feel accomplished, but folks are celebrating with you.
Okay.
We got a comment. I'm giving you your flowers as we go along. Someone said, I'm celebrating with you, Jamillah. 5 years, my God, today.
Thank you.
And yesterday. So beautiful. Anna, your cousin, she's on. She said, that's my cousin. So proud of you. Y'all have a lot of cheerleaders, including Oprah. So Oprah's watching today. I confirmed it. It's so cool.
That is very cool.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, so cool. And we got Melody Hopkins to watch today too.
Wow.
So
Oh, wow.
we want you to talk to them. Tell them, how can they support businesses like yours? What can they do to make sure that Taste This Cake and Tere's Cake Face, how can we make sure that your businesses like yours are thriving? So what are like 1 or 2 or 3 things you would say that they can do to support businesses like yours? Jamillah, I'm going to start with you, and then I'll give you a break. You can think about it a little longer than I
I
give
know. I'm always on the hot seat. But
I know.
this is pretty easy. This was pretty easy though.
Oh,
Capital. Okay.
Capital.
Capital is always the answer. I feel like as African Americans, and maybe I don't want to, anyway, African Americans, I really feel like we start so far behind. In high school, like there was never any kind of education about money management or any of these things. So I feel like I started so far behind the 8 ball. Like there are all these grants and things going on right now that I'm like, I'm kind of an ostrich, and it's upsetting me that I've stuck my head so far in the sand because of my personal life, that I'm missing out on all of these things. So we should make it a little bit easier to get to that capital. I just had a conversation with one of my colleagues that he makes cheesecakes, and he's like, my gosh, all of the things that I have to go through just to get to this is so much. So if we can decrease that, that would be great. So capital is always the answer for me.
Capital, absolutely. I don't know I mean, you got a platform.
Yeah.
An opportunity. What would you like to say?
So I'm going to echo what Jamillah said. Capital is very important. And also, especially with someone, ladies as visible as Oprah and Melanie Hopkins, those platforms for allowing people like myself and Jamillah to be seen. I'm a big quality over quantity person. And I know people thrive on having thousands and thousands of followers. There's also an incentive for that. But there are so many businesses out here like myself and Jamillah where there's a backstory behind that, or there's a story to be told. And because we may not be as visible because, we don't have as many followers, or we didn't do that next great thing, we don't always get that platform to be seen and to be heard, or really to, get our stories out. And so I think though, capital and visibility or platforms are very important, especially to smaller businesses. We are competing with, in a very large industry, and sometimes we get lost in the mix. And it could be like a year or two before someone sees the right cake at the right time, and then boom, you blow up. But then you have like the rest of us, or not even the rest of us, but just, you have other people like trying to hurry up and trying to get to that, where, like she said, 5 years in the industry, several years in the industry, it can really take time to get there. And I think it's very important to hear people's stories and not just look at their, social media platforms. It's, if you're going to provide the capital or provide the education, then get to know the story behind these individuals and what prompted them. Because I can, if I had all this money, I could give you, money, but what are you really going to do with it? What is your goal? Like, are you at any point in time interested in giving back? Are you at any point in time, thinking about what I can do to pull someone else up? And sometimes we give people money and we don't know where it's going. And I think those conversations, this platform is very integral and very important to not only just smaller businesses, but Black owned businesses, Black owned female businesses. And so that would be, you know, my challenge or my request to them.
Absolutely.
Actually,
Excellent.
what I just heard her say is mentorship. That's what I heard.
Yeah, no, I mean, absolutely. I mean, both of you just gave critical, great advice. Beyond, I mean, capital as well as the platform. I mean, this platform has been, I mean, I love Entrepreneurship Matters. You can probably tell this brings me joy. But I think others are inspired. I mean, we have young girls on here watching you too, and they're baking in their mama's bake, you know, in their mama's kitchen, their daddy's kitchen, and now they dream a little bigger because they heard their story through you. I mean, it's just so powerful. The platform and what you just said, amazing. A lot of people giving you love. Folks giving Happy Women's History Month.
Oh,
Go ladies, go Anna, go Jamillah. So y'all getting a lot of love. It's great to see you do your thing in business. You're an inspiration to young girls. Let me get to this question. What's the story? A lot of folks, okay, I'm gonna get to this story and we're gonna look at some cakes and dessert. So I'm gonna get to this question. What's the story behind your business name? So what both of you have unique names. Jamillah, no, you have.
No, yeah. So Anna actually kind of talked about it. Mine was a direct response. First of all, it's so hard to come up with a cake name because the market is saturated and everyone has cake with a C, with a K, with 2 Ks. And I'm like, this is crazy. Let me just like focus on, let's stay in my lane. Okay, so mine was a direct response to people saying things like, and I'm not bashing anyone. I am not, I promise I'm not bashing anyone. But people would say things like, oh my God, the cake was so beautiful. But it didn't taste all that good. So I will say, well, then taste this cake. You know, so it's an invitation, okay, and it's telling you exactly what to do. Mm-hmm. So I just roll with it. So I don't really spend a whole lot of time with decoration, even though people say I do. To me, everything that I put out, it looks very simple. I'm very, you know, I'm a minimalist. So I don't spend a whole lot of thought process in the decoration. Where I flourish is in the taste of the cake. So that's all me.
Yes, absolutely. I know what's your name? What's your company's name come from?
Okay, so here's my moment to shine with my daughter. I don't know if you all see on my Instagram page, I think I did a post a couple of weeks back where I featured a story about my logo and the name of my business. It's Tere's Cake Face, which is a forever ode to my daughter, Teriana. When she was about 1 year old, I didn't have a logo or business name or anything. I was just the cake girl at work. And we had our first birthday pictures done, you know, typical smash cake, all that stuff. And the picture, my logo is her face with the smash cake on it. And so what better way to honor my daughter forever in history than to name my business after her? So her name is Teriana, but we call her Tere, or, you know, Lil T. And so Tere's Cake Face is my baby named after my baby. And so
both of your babies.
She's 10 now and she's almost as tall as I am. That face, that joy with the cake on her face is how I feel like, you know, when you're out to eat and you're eating and that food is just hitting to the heavens and you get like a little bit on your chin or you got a little bit on your shirt. That's how I feel about the cake. It's like that, it's so good. You're gonna get that somewhere, because when we're eating and we're in our happy place, etiquette goes out the door, at least for some of us. And so Tere's Cake Face is just a reminder to like indulge and enjoy. And that's what I like to present to people when I'm providing like a custom cake design, or even if it was like cookies or a pound cake or anything like that. And I'm sure my uncle, who can eat 1,000,000-pound cakes, has gotten more than enough of his share of cake on his face at some point in time. So that's the story behind Tere's Cake Base.
I love it. I love it. Both of you, such unique names. Everybody's loving knowing y'all right now. Your grandmother smiling down on you. Your aunt is on Anna. So just want to let you know, your aunt. Let's get to your cakes. So Jamillah, you have bread pudding for us, right?
Oh yes, this flavor of love.
Oh, what is that?
So this is my butter pecan bread pudding. So secretly, it's not bread. It is actually pound cake. Way back when, when I was vending at the farmer's market, if I had things left over, I'm like, geez, what am I going to do with this stuff that's left over? And, I'm from Florida. We don't like to throw things away. So I sat down and thought, how can I, use these cakes that are left over? So yeah, the birth of pound cake bread pudding happened. And it is
cake bread pudding.
And there are all kinds of flavors, right now I have up here is a peanut butter chocolate chip with caramel.
Let's see that one.
Okay.
Oh man, we're all indulging from the screen.
Just don't lick your screen unless it's clean.
No, we're not licking screens. Don't lick screens. It's not sanitary. COVID. But that is amazing. That is amazing. I love it. I love it. How about you, Anna? Show us some of your cakes, your baking. We have cookies. I see the cookies.
I see that beautiful cake.
I have some small cookies that I baked right before we got on. I just pulled these out, baked them. These are brown butter chocolate chip cookies. Brown butter. And I also have a cake that I'm currently working on right now. It's for later today. So this is a chocolate cake. It's a 5-inch chocolate cake. It's covered in black buttercream. It's Italian meringue buttercream with some gold leaf. So it's halfway done. It's going to be delivered later today to my wonderful client. She's so nice. She actually purchased like 30.
It's like art.
Breakable hearts from me. Yeah, so thank you so much. So I'll just go into a little bit of conversation about this. I think people get scared with the black buttercream because they're afraid of it's going to taste weird or it's going to have some kind of taste. But I guarantee you this is going to have the same like vanilla bean taste it would if it was a different color. So don't be afraid of the black buttercream. It's completely tasty. I'm the only person that's probably going to get it all over my hands and be stained for a couple of days. But this is what I'm currently working on right now. And so again,
beautiful.
Thank you. I have a custom topper from Bitsy's Cake and some other stuff.
Show us the topper. Let us see the topper. Oh,
okay. So this topper was made by my friend Anea from Bitsy's Cake. It's for my client. It's for her husband's, her boyfriend's birthday. He's a Brooklyn Nets fan. So this is going to go on top of the cake with some other adornments, and it's going to be delivered. And that's what I have. Nice. And I actually have some cheesecakes in the fridge or downstairs in the freezer waiting to be decorated for later. I'll post those on a different day.
Cheesecake.
Lemon meringue.
I don't play with cheesecake.
I know, both of you. So let me ask you this. There's a quick question. People want to know, there are other bakers watching you today. Do you eat cake? Because they don't have appetite for it when they bake it. So do you eat are you a cake lover or are you
I'm more of a cookie monster.
Cookie monster. All right.
Yeah.
Most bakers I love baking this, and my affinity is cookies or something. How about
I'm a cookie monster.
Cookie monster, Jamillah.
So I actually really do not like sweets. I'll be honest. I'm like the unicorn in that. I just started like really liking cheesecake when I started making it myself. Right now, I'm really in love with like the lemon meringue cheesecake. I make that with a fresh lemon curd and then meringue topping. And so I have really like enjoyed the process of making that as well as eating it. My daughter likes the meringue only. But I'm an ice cream girl. Like when we travel, I am like on Yelp looking for the ice cream place. I don't want Baskin Robbins, no shade to Baskin Robbins. I don't want the chain stuff. I want like that city's best ice cream.
Yeah.
We had Kaju and we had Tahaka Brothers on. So I think that was like 4 episodes before. But we had 2 ice cream. Well, Kaju is made with cashews.
Oh, wow.
And then
All
Tahaka, of course, is a cream base. But yeah, watch them. They're 2 great companies that we had on about 4 weeks ago. So you definitely are ice cream lover. Let me end. We're on 3 minutes. I'm losing time. Let me make sure I didn't.
That means you've been having a great time.
Yeah. We have too much fun. Too much fun. Let me ask this question to close out. With all the hardships that you've experienced as an entrepreneur, we know every day doesn't shine. Every day doesn't rain. It's usually a mix of the two. But what keeps you going? And let me add to that question. What's a word of encouragement that you give to someone else that's watching to keep going? So, Jamillah, what would you say to someone?
I love what I do. And that's just like the end of it. It doesn't matter to me that I'm here all these hours. I really just love what I do. And what keeps me grounded is in nursing, I had a very great career in nursing, great career. And I chose to leave it for this because I wanted reduced stress. And I wanted to be happy. So I remind myself when things get hard, I remind myself, Jamillah, this is something, Jamillah, this is something that you chose to do. And that automatically snaps me out of it. Like, it's a decision. And I absolutely love what I do. It's a passion of mine. So advice, never stop learning. That would be my only advice.
Great advice. Anna, what would you say? What's your word of encouragement? What keeps you going? What would you say folks watching?
So my biggest motivation is my daughter. I'll go back to that. I live by, I can't just settle for anything. I can't just give up because whether or not I think so, I know she's watching. And so she's watching, and just like I watched my grandmother, just like I watched my mother, she's watching me. So whatever step I make, whatever moves I make, whether it's in business or personal matters, she's watching and she's learning, and that's being ingrained in her. So every move that I make is, for not only just for like a financial benefit for my business, but it's for the benefit of her, because this is all for her. This is, my talent and my ability that I love. But at the end of the day, just like my great grandfather was selling those peanuts, this is what's going to get her through college at Howard. So, so for me, like Jamillah said, I chose this. I chose to do this. And so even when the days are tough, I'm tired, or, I've been dealing with a client that may not be happy. I chose this. This is my walk. And so I'm not going to walk away from it, because there's so much more for me out there than just this moment. My words of encouragement to anyone and, wanting to get into this industry already here or any other industry is, walk in confidence in your talent and your abilities. You were blessed with them. God is going to make the way clear for you. And at the end of the day, you weren't given this for no reason. You were, even if it's not to reach the masses, you might change someone's life with just one post or one word, that you give to them. So stay with it and just, realize that everything that we're doing is bigger than us. And, again, your talents will make room for you. So don't be afraid, even in an overly saturated market.
Absolutely. Let people know how they can get in contact with you. I have folks asking, how can I get cakes? How can I get pound cake, bread pudding? So Jamillah, give it to us. Tell us, how can we get in contact with you?
Well, so everything, all of my social media is Taste This Cake. So my website is tastethiscake.com. Facebook, I'm Taste This Cake. Instagram, Taste This Cake. I have bread pudding at Flight Restaurant. I have bread pudding with the 3 carryouts with Sharif's, and I have bread pudding with the Rolling Grill. So I know it's kind of crazy.
Sharif's was special. That was yours.
I'm sorry?
Sharif's Grill is great. It's great.
Oh,
well,
yeah. I will absolutely let him know.
Yes, no, good man. How about you, Anna? How can people get in contact with you?
So Tere's Cake Base is my social media for Facebook and Instagram. And just remember, Tere is spelled with TERE''S. And I do have a website, same name, terryscakebase.com. April 1st, we're going to be bringing back pound cakes, y'all. We took them off of the menu for the winter, but I am bringing back pound cakes. I do ship. We're going to keep cookies off the menu for now, but we're adding our pound cakes back. Cheesecakes are going to be added back to the menu. And of course, custom cakes, wedding cakes, all that you can order through the website. So that's where we are.
Excellent, excellent. First of all, just let me say thank you for both being a blessing to all of us today. We're phenomenal. And we just wish you both the best. We're going to buy from you, get cakes from you, we're going to support you, give you our platforms, and do all the things that you gave the advice to Oprah and Melody Hobson. Let me give a couple of announcements, then we're going to close out. Next week, we're returning same time with 2 amazing hair salon entrepreneurs. Actually, went to high school with these 2 superstars. So Nicole Whalen, founder of Dolled Up Salon, and Ella Bedell, founder of the Ella Bedell Experience. You do not want to miss either one of them, I promise. And if you have not seen their designs, they are pure artists. Follow us on JH Connects on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, TikTok, all of those channels. Email feedback to us at jhconnects@jhu.edu. I want to thank our community partners, Johns Hopkins University, Johns Hopkins Health System, Hopkins Local, the Mayor's Office of Small, Minority, and Women-Owned Business, the Warnock Foundation, Goldman Sachs 10,000 Small Business Program, as well as Bloomberg Philanthropies. Thank you, Anna. Thank you, Jamillah.
Thank you for having me.
You're welcome.